All right, so I've got, just to kind of get things going, I've got a few questions for all of you. I'm going to do an audience poll here. So how many of you work in a shop where customers need an estimate or quote before they give you the job?
Show of hands. Yeah, everybody.
Decent amount. So what about where the situation is where one person is responsible for generating those estimates? Okay.
Yeah. Great.
So just before I do any other polls, just for those of you in that situation, what's the average time of getting a quote to a customer for you?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay.
Depends on the workload.
Depends on the workload. Depends on the scope of the job too, right? You know, what it is that you're actually doing for the customer. In those situations, you know, where a job is, you know, doing a whole floor for an office building or 20 trailers or, you know, site signage, where there's a lot of components to it. Sometimes that could obviously be very time consuming. And if you're the one person that does it, that could be a bottleneck. So let's bear with me here while I lead you to where we're going here. So what about paper job tickets? Anybody using paper job tickets still? Show of hands. Just one, two. And then what about accounting, doing your accounting in Quickbooks? How many? A few? Okay, good. One of the things, the question that we'd be asking here is, you know, would you like to be faster, get those quotes out easier, and do your jobs in a more profitable fashion? I would say most people would say yes. So ONYX Align is the product that we have that specifically addresses those needs. So, you know, all the questions I was asking and where you want to go, ONYX Align, we feel, is going to be the answer in a lot of cases. Let me tell you about what it is exactly. So it's a web-based order management software designed for large format shops specifically. It was designed by ONYX. Obviously, ONYX, as you heard from Andrea, we know a little something about the large format workflow in business. So we've actually been working for the past 4.5 years developing this product literally from the ground up. Nobody else's product. We just built it based on our own knowledge of the business, of the workflow, the applications. And it handles all things from related to order management and production workflow. It does connect directly to the Onyx RIP as well. And I'll show you some slides on that. But even if you don't have Onyx as a RIP, the point of this software is to address your business challenge of running the shop, getting the estimates out not only quickly, but in a trustworthy fashion that you know has got everything in it. So let's talk through some of the features specifically in Align. So it's what often happens in the shops is creating the estimates and all the tools used for creating the estimates kind of evolve over time, right? That could be price sheets, that could be an Excel spreadsheet, that could be a calculator, that could be everything's in your head. That's one thing. Then you've got, okay, well, how do we communicate the status of the order or what the order details are to production? How does production communicate what the status of the order is while they're running the jobs? Getting the details of the job, especially if something's changed, to the point where you're doing the invoicing, and then in the end, being able to go back and look at what you did, especially when the customer wants to do the same thing 6 months, a year later, things like that. When you don't have all of these things in one system, managing it, analyzing it over time, all of that becomes very difficult. So what we did is we set out to put all these things in one system to enable you to do just that. So this is what it looks like to use the product, just so you kind of get the scope of where it is. So managing the products means that the products you sell, banners, A-frame signs, site signage, vehicle wraps, trinkets, things like that, whatever it is, you would have all of your costs associated with producing those things built into the system. Once you have all of your costs built into the system, you can create estimates. You can create estimates with the knowledge of all of the costs and all of the steps that you perform so that you know you're protecting your margin. Obviously, the point of generating an estimate is to get the order. Once it's in order, you can advance it through the shop in workflows that are specific to what it is you're doing. So the site signage workflow would be different from the vehicle wrap workflow. It would be different from the, A-frame sign workflow, whatever it is, wall graphics. And then obviously then you send everything to history And on an ongoing basis, you can add more products, you can adjust your products, whatever it takes. Just not do inventory at this time, no. Now, you put all of your costs of your products in there, but as far as tracking as your inventory ticks down, we do not do that in the software. It is on the roadmap, though. That is going to be something that we add. So simplified job tracking, we have 3 different ways of seeing what's in the system. Interface for your operators to update status, and a way for management to see what's happening, make decisions. You can view things on a calendar. We separate, obviously an order can encompass multiple jobs and multiple steps. So your order could have a separate due date from the individual jobs. You can see all that based on a month view, work week view, whatever it is you want. Then we've got the actual production workflow. And I'll jump into the software after the slides, because obviously the slides are a little bit boring. But the idea being here is that see how we've got a standard production workflow and a cut vinyl workflow in the top left corner there? So at the moment, I'm showing a standard production workflow relative to the jobs I'm looking at. Where things are is a result of operators dragging things into the next step. So once our work review is done, then you move it over to print ready to file complete. It's into production, so on and so forth. So it's a combination of a communication interface for the operators to show what status you're on, what step you are in the process, but also management can look and see how many things are all at the same step. And you can go into those jobs and you can see the details in all those jobs as to, what that is. Absolutely. Yeah, it's cloud-based, so as long as you've got an internet connection, the system comes with, and good segue, because I always say the same thing on this slide here. You could log, the system comes with 5 users. The idea of the system is that each user would have different access levels. Obviously, the owner or operations manager would see everything. Sales would be limited in what they could see. Production would be limited in what they can see. But as a manager and owner, or anyone really, they could log into their same login as many times on as many devices as they want, both remotely and in the shop. So this one here is a work in progress view. So this is just kind of one view that oftentimes, this is a great one in place of the whiteboard to have on a big monitor in the shop there, so everybody can see what's going on. And that's, like I said, somebody with, they could use their login to put that up on the big monitor, and they could log in again on a different device and be creating products, advancing through the workflow, whatever it is. All right, so for those that use Onyx Drive, show of hands, anybody have Onyx Drive? So that Onyx Drive is our software RIP. Rasterlink obviously is great for Mimaki only shop. When Mimaki is just another printer in the stable, and you've got other types of printers in a high production workflow. Drive is a great RIP for that. The point of it being, just want you to see that from a product feature standpoint, that we do integrate with our RIP in a little bit more of a comprehensive way. So one of the things that we can do is when Thrive is set up to drive your 2 Mimakis and whatever other printer, or 3 Mimakis, whatever it is, you have all of the detail of your modes, your quick sets, your banner workflow, whatever it is. You have all that detail in your RIP. When you're building jobs and you're creating your products so that you can quote on them, you want to do that with the knowledge of the things that you can actually print, right? So you could pull that data from your RIP, build your jobs, and then once you've got that, you've got the ability to actually submit jobs right into the RIP. So this is a real quick video just to show you the concept. So if I've got a print ready file, we're just going to skip ahead to the print ready file stage. This is a video showing what it looks like to upload a file into an order. So the order is already for a specific product. So we know really how this job needs to be run. We have the job in Align. We could submit it to the RIP. We can pick what these specific settings for the RIP are, and we can submit the file. We'll actually go into the RIP queue. We'll see the job pop in with all of the order data in it. Forgive the other printers mentioned there. Once it's done ripping, it'll send that RIP data back into ONYX Align. So once ONYX Align has that, you've got confirmation that the job is ripped and just ready to print. And the job was ripped with all the settings based on the order that you just quoted on. It's ready to go. This was a very vanilla example, but if my quick set was rotating the file 90 degrees to go on a banner, adding bleed, putting in grommet marks, all those things, you would see that at this stage, knowing that it's truly ready to print. All right, so quick and reliable estimates. Let's go back to the really where I started this conversation, and it's really what the main reason for the software is. is what we find a daily business challenge with a lot of our customers is I could either do a quick estimate and I might be missing something, right? Or I can spend the time and I can get all the details in there. And if I've got 5 other things in front of that before I do that, not only do I have the delay in getting to the estimate to begin with, but then I've got the detail and the time to actually put everything in there, make sure I'm not missing anything on this really big job. I want to make sure I make money, right? So we don't want you to have to make that decision. We want you to be able to do quick and reliable estimates, okay? So this is another quick little video. This is just quoting on a banner. We all know a banner sounds like a really simple thing, right? But you've got an awful lot of things that go into a banner, a lot of variables. So this is an example of quoting on a banner job. So I'm gonna start a new estimate. Pick the customer that I'm making the estimate for, pick the product. This would be your products. You'd populate the system with your customers, of course, your products. This customer needs 5 banners, so I'm just gonna change the quantity. You'll see the price update in the top right corner there. Then I'll go into the detail of my banner. I've got an awful lot of things in my banner here. My default is a 6 foot by 3 foot banner. I'll make it an 8 foot by 3 foot. So I'll go ahead and update that. Again, you'll see the price change. And then I'm ready to quote the customer. So I just click issue estimate. The estimate comes up on screen. It'll be a PDF, or if they're actually in your building, you can print it out. Then you can email it to them or send them away with the estimate. But at that point, you saw me just create an estimate for 5 banners, slightly different size from my normal standard, and I had that done in whatever that was, 3 or 4 clicks, right? So real simple. I know that it's got everything in there for the way I do a banner with, whether I'm welding or stitching or, how many grommets I put every how many feet. All of that got calculated automatically based on changing the size and the quantity very quickly. All right, so in-depth cost estimation. So that first one where I just showed you where you can create an estimate, and we want anybody to be able to create an estimate in your shop really quickly, that's, for anything that's normal or standard, right? So sometimes you'll generate an estimate for a customer and they'll be like, well, that's price is too high. What can you do? Things like that. For somebody that's got the appropriate login level, owner, operations manager, or whatever, you can go in there and see where is your price coming from exactly? What are all the components that are going into your price? How much of that is margin? How much of that is labor time? You could possibly make a decision based on some other things you have in the shop that you could do that a little more efficiently, whatever it is. But if you need to meet a price, what you're gonna know while you would make the adjustments and interact here, you'll know whether or not you still have margin in the job. And that's really what we're all doing this for, right? Is to make money on the job. So being able to go in there and make sure that as you make adjustments that you're still good, that's fundamental to the software. So that's the in-depth cost estimation. So something we just launched. So for those of you that have QuickBooks, when we came out with this product, we'd hear over and over again, do you connect to QuickBooks? Fortunately, the answer is no, but you can export a report and you can reconcile your QuickBooks and all that. That's a pretty typical answer for that sort of thing. Well, we realized that really was not going to be good enough. We've got too many customers out there that use QuickBooks, and being able to integrate, not just connect to it, but integrate with QuickBooks. You're gonna have all your customers in there already, right? You don't wanna sit there and rekey all your customers into a new system. You just connect up, they all pull in, okay? You wanna generate an estimate and be able to see that later in QuickBooks. You generate an estimate in Align, that goes into QuickBooks. You wanna be able to take payment, of course. You're not gonna take payment in Align, you're gonna take payment in QuickBooks, in your accounting software. And when you do that, then that gets populated into Align. So online. Yeah, not desktop. It's got to be the subscription model. I don't know of a reason why it wouldn't. It should. Yeah, it's the subscription model. You're doing it online. Yeah, it would. But yeah, cause it's really just a different level, right? Because there's multiple levels you can get in at QuickBooks. It's going to affect the price, and you're on the higher end, right? Yep. Okay, so this is a real quick video. Is this going to play? All right, so this is an example of issuing an invoice. The job's done. Hit print, you'll see the details of the invoice there. And by the way, in Align, both the estimates that you're issuing, you saw an example of the estimate that I did, and this is an invoice. The level of detail that goes in there, you customize, because you don't want to necessarily show all the ingredients that are in the cake, right? It depends on what it is you want your customer to see. You control that level of detail. So this is showing that once it's been invoiced, that you could see that in QuickBooks. You could see all the detail populated into QuickBooks automatically. There was no double entry whatsoever. And you could take payment and then Align will know about the payment. So that's what we get out of that QuickBooks integration there. So this is just to recap the point of the software. It's all in one system. It's specifically designed for large format. You've got in-depth cost estimation. You can quickly get more quotes out per day because you could do so quickly. And you know that when you get those quotes out that you can trust them and you can be not only accurate, but then at that point, like I said, the main reason for doing all this is for that to be profitable. Any questions on QuickBooks or anything in particular you'd like to see in the software? Well, I just want to take you in there just to go into the software live here a little bit. Down the left side. All right, so just to orient you a little bit here, you saw us go through a lot of these things. You've got an account list. What just came up on screen here is we do have the ability to make this available as a guided tour. So if you want to kind of test drive the workflow within Align of generating estimates and going through all the steps, that's something that you could do. I'll just play along for just a second there, but that's kind of how this works. It takes you through what it is that you'd want to do in order to simulate the whole process. A lot of what you saw me do. So I'm going to step out of the guided tour here, but just wanted you to know that that's something available. A lot of people say, that sounds great. How do I demo it? Well, with a system like that, obviously a lot of training is required. So we wouldn't be able to completely train you on the system just for you to get a demo of it. So what we did was this guided tour approach so that you can at least go in there. So you can, at least get enough out of that demo to see. So you kind of saw the highlights of the system working. Just want to show you there's, configuration. So when you go in and you set up a system, obviously, you're going to do things like add your logos. You're going to have role groups so you can control who could see what within the system. Really important in a system like this. You certainly wouldn't want all of your pricing going to your operators. You wouldn't want your margin going to your salesperson necessarily, things like that. So you can control all that by going into the different areas of the software and setting up what each type of person or specific person can do and can see. Obviously, things like, tax settings are really important. Getting all of your substrates and, the specific costs involved. And any and everything. So all of that goes in here all for the sole purpose of making sure that that's already baked into your estimate. And when you build your products, it really actually, when you're in the product building stage, it forces you to think through truly what are all the steps that you're doing when you manufacture that product, right? And it forces you in a deep dive mode. And when you're putting all of those things into the system there, then you know that you're really capturing anything that could influence the amount of money that it costs you. So I wanted you to see all that. That's really about it. Like I said, if you don't have QuickBooks, you do have some import tools. So if you've got some CSV files that have your customer list and things like that, you can import that. So we've got some import tools as well. So a lot of things to help you get started. The way we deliver the system is that, a system like this really is not any good unless you can get up and running on it, right? You got to start by getting all of your data in there. You got to train people how to use it because it really would fundamentally impact your day-to-day operations of your business. So training and understanding how it all works really matters. So when I say that we've spent the last 4.5 years developing the product, starting over a couple times, things like that. We've also been refining our delivery mechanism. We've been kind of figuring out what works and what doesn't. What's the fastest way to get a customer up and running? So the way we do that is we deliver the training in 4 3-hour sessions. And we get a syllabus ahead of time. You see exactly what's going to be in each session so you could plan accordingly. We record each session and give it to you at the end of it so that you can go back and review that later or show others. And that can be done. Because it's 4 3-hour sessions, that could be done in as little as 2 days to be up and running. Nobody's taken us up on that offer yet, but that is feasible. More likely, you're looking at somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks, managing your schedule and what it is that you want to accomplish. We'll kind of send you off with homework at the end of each one of those sessions so you can go and really gather all of your costs, enter everything the right way. We hold your hand through the process, and then obviously this is more self-setup, and then we come back around at the end of it and help you check it out. Make sure it's ready for prime time, ready to deliver and start using on a daily basis. So that's ONYX Align. I appreciate your time. I stepped on my presentation, so my thank you slide doesn't come up automatically. But let me know if any other questions. My cards are right up here. So if you are interested in learning more about Align, if you feel like that might be something that your business could benefit from, please do reach out to us, or I'll be here for most of the rest of the day. So feel free to come by and, sorry, put that out of your reach there. Feel free to come by and ask any questions. I'm happy to show you more on the product. Thank you everybody for your time.